Okay, so for chapter 1, let us begin our first level 2 problem. And you can see it's level 2 because we've got two little dots up there, meaning this is going to be a step up from the previous problems. Woo! Alright, you can easily convert common units and measures electronically, but you still should be able to use a conversion table, such as those in Appendix D. And this would mean Appendix D in the textbook that I got this question from. But in general, though, you should be able to use conversion tables if you're given to you at any point in your physics and or mathematics career. Where's my mouse? Okay. Table 1-6, see we get a lovely little table, is part of a conversion table for a system of volume measures once common in Spain. A volume of 1 fanega is equivalent to 55.505 cubic decimeters. To complete the table, what number, to 3 significant figures, should be entered in the cahiz column, the fanega column, the cuartilla column, and the almude column, starting with the top blank. And then also express 7.00 almudes in medios, cahizes, and cubic centimeters. Alright, so our parts in this question go from A to G, so that's 7 parts of the problem. So we've got a lot going on here, evidently. And and part of the problem, a big part of it, is filling out this table down here. So it might seem a little bit scary, but actually it's not going to end up being that bad, and I'll show you why. So let's just take a look at part A here. And part A specifically asks us to complete the numbers in the cahiz column. So this whole little column right here. So in other words, we have to figure out what the conversions are from the cahiz to every single other little unit here, or more accurately, convert from every other unit here to the cahiz. So just to like start us off here, our top little blank, since it did say from top to bottom in the question, is to find out what 1 fanega is equal to in terms of cahizes. And we're actually given some information regarding this already. I mean, of course, you wouldn't want to, otherwise you would have no way of figuring it out. And the information we're given is that if we look at their top row here, or row up the top here, 1 cahiz we're given is equal to 12 fanegas. So if we want to solve for the fanegas in terms of the cahiz, it's basically just flipped. If there are 12 fanegas in 1 cahiz, then 1 fanega is going to be a 12th of that. So 1 fanega then is going to be equal to a 12th of a cahiz. Though the question does also add the additional requirement of this has to be written to 3 significant figures. So just plug that into your calculator and then round to the 3 sig figs, and it'll come out to be equal to 8.33. Can't see the decimal there. Times 10 to the negative 2 cahizes. And basically going to kind of go on with that. Like, can we continue? So the next part of the question then asks about 1 cuartilla is how many cahizes. And if you look up top again, 1 cahiz is equal to 48 cuartillas. So once again, we'll do the same thing. We'll just flip the units. We'll flip the reciprocal around to get it in a fractional form again. So it's then going to be 148. Or whoa. It's going to be 148 cahizes. Or again, if we convert into the scientific notation to get 3 sig figs, that is 2.08 times. Yeah, that's 2.08. I'll actually rewrite that. But again, you hear what I'm saying. You can read off your calculator, because I'm assuming you are doing it with me here. I recommend that if you really want to get good at this. And in fact, for that reason, I actually won't bother showing off all the work for the next two little bits here, because really it just becomes busy work at that point. It's just the same couple of things, because one almude is going to be, well, 144 almudes in a cahiz, so just flip that. 288 medios in a cahiz, so just flip that. So once again, going from top to bottom in this row, or in this column, sorry, the next two answers we get in order are going to be 6.94 times 10 to the negative 3 cahizes, and 3.47 times 10 to the negative 3 cahiz. Ooh. And now for part B, and actually, part B, C, and D are all basically the same concept, really. Part B is then just fill out this little column right here, and it becomes the same process. So in order, if we take a look, we want to convert one cuartilla into a fanega, and what do you know? A fanega is equal to 4 cuartillas, so it's flipped and it becomes 1/4 or 0.250. And the rest of the values we get for, again, flipping the other little fractions in this then become, let's see here. So for the cuartilla, that is going to be, oh yeah, for the almude, sorry. So yeah, we're going down the rows. Yeah, but then it's the same process. So then an almude then, in fanega, so fanega, we're given 12 almudes, so it's the same process. So 1 over 12, which calculated above is 8.33 times 10 to the negative 2. And lastly, 4.17 times 10 to the negative 2 for those last few entries. And now let's go on to C. And fortunately, every time we move on to the next step, it gets easier and easier because we have less values we're trying to convert to. But for this, we have 1.333. That's actually an unlimited thing because we're flipping the 1 over 3 there. But keep in mind it says to 3 sig figs. So don't make the mistake that some people might make and round to a greater or lesser number of 3s. Yeah, and the same thing applies to the 1 over 6 up there, where we get round to 0.167 for the last couple entries there. And then D, the final step, is easy enough. 1 medio and how many almudes. And we're given 1 almude is equal to 2 medios, so you just flip it in half. So it's 1/2, or in other words, in 3 sig figs, 0.500. So now, thanks to those 3 parts, we now have a full table written out. But now we've got to go to the final step of the question, which is to express 7.00 almudes in these other 3 units. So for part E, it says convert 7 almudes into medios. So this problem becomes much easier now that we have our table filled out. But for letter E, for the first little step here, it's not going to have that much of an effect, because we're converting almudes into medios, and actually the table already gives us our little value here. So 1 almude is equal to 2 medios, so the number of medios is double the number of almudes, in other words. So it's then just 2 times 7 of the almudes, so we're just doubling both sides, really. And yikes, that's hard to write. And in 3 sig figs, our answer for that becomes 14.0 medios. And then for part F, we actually will utilize the fact that we have a filled out table now. So as we explained above, here we're converting 7 almudes into cahizes. Now, as we explained above in our little table, let's see here. In part A, actually, yeah, we did that for this little bit right here. Because as part of our table, 1 almude is equal to this little spot right here, which we determined in part A is 6.0 94, that is a 9, times 10 to the negative 3 cahizes. So if one almude is equal to that many cahizes, then let's just multiply both sides by 7. So 7 almudes is going to be equal to 7 times this, which is going to be 4.86 times 10 to the negative 2 cahiz. Woohoo, covered the little dot there. And for the final part, which is probably the hardest part in the question, is part G. Because now we're converting from 7 almudes to cubic centimeters, which is something we're not given a conversion for that on the table. We have to base that off of what we already know about the units, because we are given information about, because the only information we're given in this problem connecting any of these units to the standard metric base SI units here is the fact that we're told that a single fanega is equal to 55.501 cubic decimeters. So let's try and get, it's because we know how much a fanega is equal to in the decimeter, let's try and get a conversion factor between the decimeters, or the cubic decimeters rather, and cubic centimeters, if that's what we're trying to do. So if you know what a decimeter is, and if you don't, then think of it like this. We've got deci in the name, and deci means 10. So that means that a decimeter is a tenth of a meter, or write that out, 0.1 meter is how much that is. So to find a conversion here, let's take it like this. So that would mean that to convert into meters here, that'll be 55.501. I miswrote it again. We'll have to do a little conversion here, and let's do, before converting directly to centimeters, let's do it in a slightly easier way, just to show you guys exactly what I'm doing. By first converting it into cubic meters. So 5.501, and let's convert it into meters. Now, as I explained above, a decimeter is a tenth of a meter, so we're going to be multiplying it by 1/10. However, it's not going to be that easy, because the 1/10 thing is how it would work if it's a decimeter into a meter. But we're not converting from a decimeter into a meter. We're converting from a decimeter squared into a meter squared. So to get that, because we're dealing with volume here, we're going to have to cubed, not squared. Yeah, decimeters cubed, cubic decimeters, because we're dealing with volume here. That's how we know from what we've got. So if we're converting from volume here, we know that we're dealing with units squared. So in here I should have added a little dm cubed to the power of 3 here. And we want our unit here to be that same way. Right. So to cube our units properly, I'm just going to add a little cube at the top here and set that equals one another. And or not set the equal to one another, but multiply by each other. And the answer we get, converting into into meters squared, is 0.05551 meters squared. And now let's convert that again back into centimeters. So then let's multiply this by the conversion into centimeters, which is going to be equal to 100. Because, as you know, there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So let's do that little conversion here. The conversion everyone knows, except once again we have to cube it because we're dealing with volume. And cube it, and the answer we get then is that it's equal to 55,501 centimeters cubed. Keep getting that mixed up. So this is the this is the conversion we're given here. So if one fanega is equal to 55.501 cubic decimeters, then a fanega is also going to be equal to this many cubic centimeters. So now we have all the information we need to easily solve this problem. So now in our final little calculation we're going to make, we know that 7 almudes is equal to, oh yikes, is equal to, let's make the conversion from a fanega into, let's convert it into a fanega now. So that's 7 over 12 fanegas. Because that is the conversion factor we're using here. And multiply that by our number of cubic centimeters. So 55,501 cubic centimeters. And multiplying these together, that is going to get us an answer of 3.24 times 10 to the 4th centimeters cubed. And that is, and those are all of our answers to this lengthy problem here.